Hey crew, just wanted to talk about Sunday real quick. Give a couple encouragements, couple ideas for your small group. Um, this week we are starting a new book, and we're going to talk about Jesus being our Messiah. A lot of how Jesus represents or shows that he's the Messiah, and shows how he fulfills the Old Testament, everything that we just came out of. So should be a great study. What's awesome is that the study for Sunday happens to be the exact same text I read for my quiet time this morning, unintentionally. Romans 12 to 21 was part of what I did in my personal devotion, so that was pretty awesome. Anyways, but just want to give you a couple ideas for maybe discussion for this lesson. One thing you could do, I know Brett's group, he often has his guys, sometimes they'll split up into groups of like 2 or 3 or 4, and they will discuss something together and then come back and share as a group everything. They're just throwing everything on the board that they've discussed. At least I've seen them do that before. So an idea for this lesson is you could, since we're talking about Adam and Jesus, and the comparison between the two, and how Jesus is the better Adam, how he's the second Adam, how he is the one who gives us new life, and Adam is the one that gave us our sin nature. Jesus is the one that gives us our new nature, and Jesus is the firstborn from the dead. He's the firstborn to the new resurrected life, and Adam was the firstborn of creation. So Jesus is the firstborn of new creation. So you see all these ways that Jesus is the better Adam. Anyways, all that to say is you could have your group split up or circle up or whatever, break up into 2 groups or 3 groups, and just have them brainstorm what are the differences between Adam and Jesus, what are the similarities between Adam and Jesus. And then you can come back and just have them all share what they found. Give them 5 minutes, 10 minutes, have them all share what they found. And then look at Romans together, and then you can come up with maybe a filled out list. So first come together and just write down everything that they say, and then you can begin to talk and discuss about the differences of some of these things and what these things mean and how they compare, and you're discussing the scripture together. And then you can look at Romans 5 and fill out your list. So these are all from Romans 5. So these are the compare and contrast of Romans 5. So you got Adam says his one sin leads to death to all. Jesus' one act of righteousness leads to life for all. So you got condemnation through Adam's one trespass, and you have justification through the free gift. You have death to all men through Adam, through his one sin. You have life to all who believe through Jesus. You have Adam's disobedience bringing sin. You have Jesus' obedience bringing life. You have the trespass being compared to the free gift that Jesus gives. You have the sin increasing and grace abounding. That's verse 20. Then you have Adam, who represents the old man or the old nature, and you have Jesus, who represents the new man or the new nature. So you can build this list. So you want them to see, we get our sin nature from Adam, and we get our new nature and our righteousness from Jesus. That's what you want them to see when they leave this week. So you can do that. Another thing you can do is, if you look at some of these questions in the end of this lesson, so things like, how might you explain the good news of salvation to someone interested in learning what Christianity teaches? You can simplify these questions. There's another good question there. How would you describe the problem of humanity to someone? Those are good questions. Look through those. You can adapt them. And what you could do is you can write them on pieces of paper. I saw Mike Parks do this a couple weeks ago. You can write them on pieces of paper. You can put them in a bowl and have students draw out a question from the bowl that they have to figure out themselves and give an answer to. And if they don't know an answer, then you can all discuss an answer together. And if they do give an answer, then you can still bounce around and discuss that answer. So you're discussing these questions, you're discussing the lesson, you're having them discuss deep things. But I think questions that are really good to open up the floor to this week would be, what are some of the problems in humanity? right? What are some of the difficulties, the brokenness in humanity? What is the world's biggest problem? Those kinds of things. How would you explain salvation to someone interested in Christianity? What do you think justification means? What do you think sanctification means? There are some good things that are from this lesson. So split them up in groups, make a list, have discussion, maybe draw questions. Those are some ideas for this week. I hope you have a great lesson. I'll see you Sunday.